We gotta stand taller, right?
Well, maybe.
We're tall.
Yeah, this is what we gotta do.
I gotta scrunch down?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to my live stream. I'm Chef Alexis Butters, aka Chef Christina Alexis. And this is my partner, Sayre Piotrkowski of HenHouse Brewing Company.
Hi.
And today we're talking about food and beer pairings, specifically my Afro-Caribbean style food with some very delicious local, mostly Bay Area beers. But
yeah, I think we happen to have one from down in the LA area today. Right. But most importantly, we're going to talk about the way that the spice forward, chili forward, loud flavors of Caribbean food, and specifically your take on Caribbean food, works with the contemporary IPA, the most popular beer style in all of our worlds today.
Great. And so to kind of kick it off, I'm going to show a dish I've already prepared, just to kind of illustrate how well specifically the beers that Sayre has selected pair with this particular dish. If you've been paying attention at all to any of my social media feeds this week, I've been promoting this dish, a jerk chicken pasta dish that I've kind of been workshopping. And I first paired this dish with HenHouse's Kubrick Landing rotating IPA. And we kind of just took a chance on how spicy the pasta was, pairing well with that beer. We did a beer dinner that summer, and it worked really, really well. And so this is a different iteration of that dish, and I'm gonna have Sayre taste it, and he's gonna select from one of these three IPAs we kind of have on hand, and we're gonna see which one tastes best with it. So I'm gonna get that plated for him, and he'll talk to you about IPAs.
Awesome. So the dish that Christina is referring to, that we paired, I think, almost a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, paired with an IPA that my company, HenHouse Brewing Company, makes called Kubrick's Landing. Makes reference to the fact that there's a conspiracy theory in which Stanley Kubrick faked the moon landing for NASA. No big deal. And
no big deal. You guys are just cool and good at naming beers.
Word. So that dish featured some contemporary hops, pretty aggressively hopped beer, but hops from Germany. And while all the super hoppy IPAs in our world are trending towards tropical fruit, that is a trend with those German hops, but you tend to get some really pretty soft floral and maybe not the big tropical fruit flavors of like mango and things like that. So we've got three different iterations of contemporary IPAs that I'm going to taste alongside this jerk chicken pasta dish.
So this dish has, cavatappi in this case. Originally it was with orecchiette, but really you can use any pasta. And then it has my baby, my 29 months as of May 1st, aged jerk sauce. And the way I've been aging this is just to make a new batch, keep it in the fridge, and then cook it off once a week. And so we will be celebrating this sauce's 30-year birthday this year. But yeah, so this dish has cavatappi in this case with jerk sauce, pecorino romano for the cheese element, and then some fresh mint and some chicken chicharron on top for texture. The idea with the mint is to kind of act as a cooling herb. Ideally, I would have added sugar snap peas as well, just to kind of like add as another cooling element. But this jerk sauce is kind of mild, like cleaned itself a little bit in the aging process.
We'll see about that. I think she's trying to get me.
But the idea with pairing this is that, you know, the jerk sauce shouldn't fight the beer and the beer shouldn't fight the dish. They should just kind of nicely complement each other. The beer should bring out some of the, you know, bright cilantro, kind of like, and also serve to cool off your mouth. Right.
So when pairing hoppy beers with spicy food, there's a couple of things to watch out for. Hop bitterness and alcohol will spike chili heat and make it really, really intense and can like overwhelm you and not be a pleasant experience. Whereas hop essential oils and hop aromas. Hop essential oils tend to cool off that heat, and hop aromas tend to complement the flavors that come alongside those heats. This way that you would put chili on a mango. Those two things tend to really go nicely together. So,
and that's an example of hop essential.
Well, hop aromas might be the mango, right? And then your dish has the chilies. Essential oils, we don't need to get into the whole chemistry of that, but hops are very oily. It's where the aromas come from. Right, so we're going to start with HenHouse's The Walrus's Paul. As we all know, Paul was replaced, I think, right? He died and then he was replaced in the Beatles.
I don't know that we all know that. That's certainly
as we all know.
So go ahead, dig in and let's see what you get.
So this is not the one I'm guessing before trying is going to be the best. This uses Centennial and Pacific Jade hops and has a little bit more of like that sticky, icky herbal than most of our
like a little bit of that Mota background, right?
See what?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Oh man.
Is it plain?
Okay. So you lied. This is still plenty hot.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I think the best thing in this dish for pairing with this particular beer, and we'll never know until we try it, but it's going to be that fresh mint. But
yeah, I mean that's the idea. You have to have something in there to combat that Scotch bonnet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give it a try too.
Give it a whirl. But
that's delicious.
Yeah,
but
nice together.
Great beer.
It does. The mint kind of interacts with the hops with their little anisette note that I like there. But this is the one that I think is going to be the home run. Citra and Cashmere hops from our hometown brewery, Temescal, called Group Chat IPA.
It's a really cool label too.
Yeah.
Also, I want to quickly interject. For those of you guys that are cooking along with me, now is your time to kind of get your mise en place set. So I have my pot going for the mussels because we are going to cook that all the way together. We're going to cook that through together, rather. So go ahead and get those things that I sent you on the ingredients list together if you'd like to cook along with me. All right. So what are you thinking? Was your hypothesis correct?
Pat myself on the back. That works together beautifully. I really like it. And again, the key there is looking for more hop aroma, hop flavor than necessarily hop bitterness when we're talking about working with spicy foods. Want to match intensities, so very intense dish with lots of flavor. You want a big intense beer like an IPA. And then that's the last stage is where you start looking at the specific complementing flavors. So with the Citra and Cashmere there, I think there's a lot of like really overripe orange, maybe even tending into like mango or mango smoothie, like almost like a cold buster from Jamba Juice flavors.
Sure.
That work really nicely with the chili.
And it also would play really well with the allspice that's in that wet jerk. You know, that kind of orange type plays well with that citrus.
Yep.
Holding it up and holding it down as it were.
Well, I'm convinced.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So how would you sum up how to, kind of pair?
So again, step one, match intensities. If you have a really intense dish, don't go for the lightest, most delicate beer in your collection. If you're serving a hamachi crudo, don't throw an IPA or a stout at it because it's going to stomp all over it, right? Next step, look out for those kind of like, then you want to start doing your matching and your harmonies, right?
Cassie says send her beer. We're working on it.
We can send you beer, no problem.
To Vegas.
Yeah. Word. I think that kind of summarizes it. You want to look, don't overthink it. Things that go together in regular life, if you perceive those in the beer, like in this case, we're perceiving the mango, and you always put chili on your mango. When you've got a dish with chili and a beer that smells like mango, it's probably going to go pretty well together.
All right. That's pretty
awesome. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about cooking with some beer, right?
We are. But I just want to quickly go back to something you said, because I would, like when you go out for spicy Thai food or those beers actually do tend to be a little bit more bitter than we think them to be, because they're kind of like those let me grab a beer kind of thing.
Well, no, I would not say bitter. So actually what I think is doing the work of cleansing the palate in a light lager that you might have with Thai food.
Okay.
Those beers are really highly carbonated.
Okay. All right.
So you perceive a high acidity to them, and the super high carbonation, the carbonic acid, does the work of refreshing the palate. And that carbonation is present in all beers and will absolutely always be palate cleansing. And that's actually doing the work that we're relying on, both the carbonation and those hop essential oils to do when pairing an IPA with spicy food.
Okay.
There's definitely some IPA and the kind of heat that you get out of Thai food, and not to put too fine of a point on it, but that is different than the Caribbean chili profile, which is almost always in there with, as you say, the allspice, the fruitier character.
Sure. Like Scotch bonnets tend to be a lot fruitier of a heat profile
than a Thai chili.
Than a Thai chili.
Absolutely.
For sure. Awesome. All right, let's move on to the.
I'm gonna keep eating.
To the cook along, and you're just gonna kind of like chime in as I'm building the base for the mussels, right? And then we're gonna talk about why I'm cooking with what beer I'm cooking with, right?
Absolutely.
So to get started, I've got a pound and a half of mussels here. I have de-bearded them. Took my time with each one of them, and I'm happy to say every one of these is alive. I bought them yesterday, kept them alive, opened the bag in the fridge, and put them on top of a block of ice. Otherwise, you know, you can buy them the day that you plan to cook with them. Okay, so to build our sauce, we're going to start with some aromatics. I have some shallot here, and all of my aliens right now are super, super fresh and strong. As I was cutting, I was just like kind of crying into everything. And that's not normally the case. So I did keep a lid on some of my mise en place over here.
Did those just go into an empty bowl, or was there oil in there?
There was a preheated pan with oil in it. And I'm going to bring you guys over to show you what it looks like when it's all in pool together. But to that, we're going to add some thinly sliced fennel. I really love steamed mussels, and I love every style. I like, you know, moule mariniere, or like, you know, even creamier style mussels. But I do find that the use of fennel should be ubiquitous. Like, I just like how that kind of earthy and also like kind of oniony flavor anisette and licoricey flavor plays really well with the salinity of mussels. I'm also adding these pimientos de padron, padron peppers. I didn't add these to the ingredient list, but I saw them in my fridge and I saw that they were about to go. You could sub this out for a bell pepper if you wanted to right now, or some celery. That adds a really nice like base aromatic flavor and some texture to the broth, which is never a bad thing.
Is there a reason? Is the texture the reason you left them cut that chunky as opposed to dicing them?
Yeah, like, in theory, we're going to serve this with some crusty bread. It's nice to get a big scoop of bread with broth and, you know, like some bites on it. We want to make a meal out of it. You can come on in. Okay. So we're going to get that sweating down. And actually get my fire turned back up. I had actually turned it down because I was afraid I would burn everything. So the garlic will be the absolute last thing that we add. And for now, I'm going to move you over so you can cook with me and see. But in addition to the shallot, fennel, and padron peppers, we do have some garlic. So we're just going to sweat this out a little bit longer. And I'm going to put my spin on these mussels. They're not a specific style, but I'm going to add my tremula to them. Just because I think the beer that we're cooking with will complement it really well, right? Should we talk about the beer that we're cooking with?
Absolutely. HenHouse Saison.
It's like one of the first beers, by the way, I tried by HenHouse.
It was the first beer we ever made.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and up until a few years ago, the beer we sold the most of.
Oh, cool.
So the reason that typically you'll see recipes for steaming mussels with beer, you will see it. The classic one is a wheat beer. Belgian-style wheat beer. Mm-hmm. Saison's is a similar style in that a huge portion of the beer's character comes from the fermentation. Okay. So what happens when, if that beer was as hop-driven as the IPAs we just tasted, and you sweated it down so you could steam the mussels over it, you would concentrate all these bitterness and unpleasant flavors that you didn't want.
Gotcha. Okay.
Whereas a Saison, a wheat beer, a fermentation-driven style of beer, a Belgian beer of really any sort is fermentation-driven. That's going to play much more like wine when you cook it down. And you're actually going to concentrate these more elegant, fruity, and spicy flavors. So coriander, black pepper, white pepper is one of my most common tasting notes on our Saison. But also,
for the layperson, how would you distinguish between white pepper and black pepper?
Funky.
Profile? Okay.
White pepper's a little footy.
Okay.
It's a little footy. It's a little
footy. I like that.
Little preservative. It's a little, it's a little like coriander. A yeah, it's got the subtlest hint of aged cheese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. I'll look out for that next time I taste white pepper. So now that this is like sweated down pretty well, and the shallots and the fennel are like pretty translucent, I'm gonna add the garlic because I know I'm just moments away from adding things that will add moisture to this to prevent the garlic from burning. So we'll get the garlic in there, give it a good toast. And soon we are going to be ready to bring our mussels over. But we want to give them a good drain. And I'm going to put you guys back over there once we get everything in the pool so that we can, speak directly to you and show you some tricks of like setting up your herbs and stuff like that for service. Yes, sir, in the pool.
In the pool?
Yep. Perfect. Great fan. So what I'm going to do is toss everything with these mussels. I want the mussels to get to know the fennel, the shallots, the garlic, and the pimientos de padron. And then I'm also going to add my chermoula before Sayre adds the beer because I also want them to be coated in that sauce as well.
So what's in a chermoula if folks don't have their own prep chermoula at home?
I'm so glad you have. So chermoula is a North African condiment.
North African condiment.
Right. And it is parsley, mint, cilantro, smoked paprika, cumin, and citrus. And then it's all kind of like blended and bound together by really good olive oil. That's important. You can really taste when like a lower grade olive oil is used in a chermoula. So I reserve my best olive oils for the chermoula just because you typically like could eat it raw, like, right. As a condiment. It's a condiment. Right. I like to cook with it a lot. I find it wakes up those herbs a lot and those spices, the smoked paprika.
The cumin is leaping out of that pan right now.
Yeah.
That's a pot, not a pan. But either way, the cumin is popping.
It is. It's my lovely Milo pan. All right, so we're going to go ahead and with the beer. And like Sayre said...
Fast or slow? Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, it would matter if we were cooking in a shallower pan. We wouldn't want to flare up.
Yeah.
But in this case, as he mentioned, this is acting as the wine in this case. And I thought we were going to need some more broth, but because I am going to fortify this this ultimately with some more heavy whipping cream and butter, I actually don't think we need any extra stock. That can was very giving. These mussels are on their way.
Oh man, yeah.
Opening, but we're going to put the lid on for like 3 minutes so we can get them all open. And then we'll come and check on it. And by then, all of the mussels should have opened up and shared their salinity with that broth and the salinity with that saison, with that chermoula, with eventually the cream. It's about to go off and be so.
That's awesome. So, so literally the process of cooking a mussel is getting it open.
Exactly.
And you're done.
Yeah, once you get it open, once you see that they're all open, that's when you want to, absolutely stop cooking it because mussels can, just like any other
rubbery
seafood, they can tighten up on you and just go from the most delicious, delicate, tender things to pretty tough, rubbery little balls. Kathy says, Christina taught me to slap my herbs like basil, so the oils are activated. I do it all the time and I feel fancy. And that was my gift to you, Cassie, and I'm so glad that it's the gift that keeps on giving. But she's absolutely right. Waking up herbs is a really good way to make them taste better. And I talked about this in my last live stream. Blooming spices is a really great way to make them taste better. You might as well take a little bit extra time. And
what's blooming mean?
Where you heat up a spice in like oil or in something hot.
So that's why when the chermoula hit the pan, that cumin filled the whole room.
It just bloomed in every sense of the word. It just opened up and really just kind of spread its love. And so actually at this point, I can kind of hear it bubbling. We're down to a minute. I'm going to go give them a check, and then we're going to talk garnishing and accoutrement. Oh, yeah. So if you want to bring that over, Sayre, and we'll figure out a way to manipulate
Cameraman.
that. So there you go.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, you see that? Let me give it just a little bit more of a Perfect.
That's beautiful, and the smell is intense.
Right. So I'm gonna have you keep it right there. You see, most of the mussels are open. If they're not open, give it a little bit more time. We still got a minute left on the clock. But if they're not open after the majority of them are open, they're probably dead and you don't want to eat them. I'm sure you've heard that old adage. I'm going to add now some cream. Not Kareem. And then after that, we're going to melt it with a little bit of butter.
And what's the thinking behind adding the fat last?
Well, we're not going to add that much. We're just trying to cream out the sauce. And so it doesn't need to cook that long.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just thickening the sauce. The idea behind adding the cream at all is like mouthfeel.
Okay.
Right? And just like a little bit more lusciousness to the sauce. Like I said, you can make a meal out of mussels. You know, you add a big slab of crusty bread to this or some frites. You want to talk about like for real good? And actually, if you're interested in perfect frites, I am doing a live stream next week to show you how to cook the perfect potato. Not in the style of In-N-Out, because they've gotten it wrong.
The hatred.
I actually have no shame in saying that either in California, where it's like essentially I'm a pariah for even thinking that In-N-Out's fries are not perfect. All right, so we're just gonna keep stirring. Oh, it's gorgeous.
That does look really extraordinary.
You want to keep bringing them up from the bottom too, because those guys are getting kind of the majority of the heat exposure. Okay. So once you get all of that incorporated.
And when your buzzer went off, did you cut the heat or do we still have heat under there?
We still have heat. Okay. But we uncovered them and we just been kind of.
So you're just letting them tell you when they're ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now that you mention it, turning it off and letting them cook residually is fine. Okay. And while that's happening, we could go back over here and I can show you some accoutrements. Some garnishes.
I like accoutrement. That sounds way sexier.
So
how's that for camera placement, chef?
That's perfect.
All right.
So you and I this week foraged for these Fennel Fronds.
I forage. I'm a forager.
I forage now. I'm a forager now. In the words of What About Bob? And they were just beautiful. All you want to do is make sure you get the tippy top of forage frond, especially out here. This is fennel. This is fennel.
From Bella Vista Park right here in Oakland.
Right. This is the fennel frond. It's not the bulb that we use to build the sauce. This is the very top of it. If you do go foraging for this in your neighborhood or especially in Oakland, make sure to get the tippy top, give it a good wash, let it soak in some ice cold water with a touch of vinegar, and then dry it off really well. Dogs do pee in the frond and, in the flora around here. So you just want to make sure that it's healthy and like safe to eat.
So just go through that process one more time slowly.
So I snipped off the tip of the frond, the wild frond in our here neighborhood. Right.
Foraged for, like foragers.
Exactly. Right. Because we're foragers now.
Totally foragers.
And then I soaked it in ice cold water with a touch of vinegar. And then
with acid.
Yeah, just to like make sure to draw whatever was funky on it off. And then I let it dry on paper towels. And here we have beautiful frond. It's going to look like a freaking fisherman's stew bounty when we're done with this. And then I prepped some scallion and cilantro. I think scallion, cilantro, garlic is my whole eternity. There's scarcely a dish I don't add it to, even when it has no place, like pizza. Mm-hmm. Pizza gets cilantro, scallion, and a little bit of garlic. I think it's absolutely delicious. And it also is really beautiful. And again, this was not on the ingredient list, but I have stuff in my fridge that I want to use. This is preserved lemon. And when I realized we were going to be cooking with the saison, I was like, this absolutely has to go with that. Because
it smells very sweet, though.
It's preserved lemon. Okay. Yeah, I made this a while ago. Preserved lemon lasts forever. And it absolutely will match in flavor profile with that tremula, because preserved lemon is used often in North African cooking. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to add this. It will make it look beautiful. And let's get garnishing. I was just going to use lemon zest, but then I opened my fridge and I said, what? I'm absolutely going to use my preserved lemon. That'll make it taste better. So yeah, let's get these guys in here.
So you're adding the scallions and the cilantro?
Absolutely. We're going to bring it over so they can get a good look before this live stream's over. I thank everybody for bearing with us. I hope you guys have learned some stuff. So we're going to do that.
Beautiful.
And then some
Fennel
fronds.
fronds that we forage because we're foragers.
And what you end up doing is like echoing a lot of the base flavors you've already built with, right? You have cilantro, mint, parsley in the tremula. You have fennel bulb in the base of the sauce. So why not garnish with what's already in there? Yeah. And let's go in with this preserved lemon to drizzle. Ideally, you would pour this out for service, but I just want to give you guys a good look at this before we pop off here. And I don't want you guys to be too jealous, but this is, in fact, Sayre and I's lunch. See, Cassie agrees. I don't know if I agree about Shake Shack fries.
Shots fired.
I have to say, I like a good crinkle, and they make their own cheese sauce, which is important.
I have no controversial fry opinions.
Well, because you don't care about fries, which is bananas.
That's also true.
You seem to be really good at bringing the camera over.
All right.
I'm really bad at it, so I'm just going to ask you to do it again.
Camera work.
Look at what we made together, guys. These are our beer-steamed mussels.
Saison steamed, please.
Saison steamed.
HenHouse saison, if you will. Let's stay on brand.
Well, I do declare. HenHouse saison, beer-steamed mussels. No beer. Stop saying beer. Okay.
Right, yeah,
HenHouse saison steamed mussels.
Look how perfectly cooked that mussel that I can see is, though.
This guy.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think you deserve a little taste. Should we give him a taste? You get to taste. How is that?
Oh man, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect, and it's like it sounds silly, but you really can. In addition to the notes of the ocean and the sea and all those flavors that you get from the mussel itself, it just takes flavor so easily.
Yeah.
Like I absolutely taste fennel. I absolutely taste coriander. I absolutely
and it's
onion,
amazing
like,
how delicate a mussel is, but how much it absorbs when during that cooking process when they're opening and absorbing. You know, because that's how mussels eat in the ocean anyway. They open, take it all in, hold it in, and then let it out when they're done. You know.
Yeah. Nature's filter.
Nature's filter. So thank you guys so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun learning to cook with beer and learning how to pair foods with beer. If you guys have any questions at all, if anyone would like the recipe list of everything that we cooked with and didn't receive one beforehand, make sure to just drop your email in the comment section here, or you can email me directly if you like on Chef's Feed. And yes, please tune in next week. Like I said, I'm teaching how
you like slandering everybody's fries. You better make some dope potatoes next week.
They're gonna be amazing, and they're gonna have hella condiments because I am a sauce queen. But yeah, tune in next week to check out my delightful, perfectly prepared potatoes. And thank you again for joining me this week. Everyone, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. Bye.